You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White, and I'm talking very slow and very calmly because I'm very tired.
Yes. Make sure you hit every word properly.
So because of that, I also welcome my other co-host, Lacey Finley.
Well, happy Monday. I feel like I've got to match the energy now.
Yeah, I mean, we try to keep it hype, but I'm so tired. I just was
I
like,
feel you though.
I don't know why. I didn't feel like I did anything more or less than I normally do.
Is this where we just get to go like, oh, this is great getting old?
Yeah, but you know,
What I used to be able to do in a day didn't kill me, and now I feel like it takes me 2 weeks to recover from like a day of mopping the floor or something. I don't know. Like, my body's just like, ow, ew, what? No, we're not doing that.
my body likes to do delayed pain, so you like destroy something you don't even know. You're tired, but your body feels fine, and then the next day your body still feels fine. You're like, yeah, all right, that was all right. And then the day after, all the pain sets you. You're like, what happened to me?
Delayed, yep.
Yeah,
Oh, I can still do this. No, I was so wrong.
yeah. It just,
Yeah.
you think you got past it, and then it just is like, no, we were just preparing you. It was gonna hurt.
Yeah. This is the long troll, as they call it. Well, I'm not as lucky. Usually my body lets me know right away, like, oh, no, we're not doing this anymore. And then usually I'm stuck in whatever position it decided we were done for like a half an hour. And then, oh, okay, cool. So I won't do that way anymore. I'll just get
Yeah.
a log stick. That's how I clean now. A rake. So I don't have to bend over anymore. Yay, old.
Yay. I have a story I have to tell you, and then I also have a recommendation for our listeners. I might have to look up the recommendation, like the channel. In fact, let me just do that right now, okay? Because
There you go.
the story is too great. I can't interrupt it or be focused on anything else because I hope that you'll love the story. And it's not our usual stories at the end of the show stories. It's
A chit chat. Can you believe this happened?
Can you believe this happened? That would
Okay.
be the appropriate. I know I've followed this fucking channel. I don't know where a video is. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to find something, and suddenly it's just you can't find these things. And I'm going to continue to
You
ramble.
can't remember where you saw it. Yeah.
You thought it was going to be there when I just opened this up, but since I'm recording a podcast, it couldn't be equally convenient to just be there for
No.
me when I needed it.
Yeah. That's how life
Thank
works.
you. There it is. Okay, so
Oh, there we go.
the channel name, or I guess channel, the guy on YouTube, his name is Jeremy Parrish.
Parrish?
And he does these retrospectives on older video games. So he's got Nintendo games, Game Boy games, Sega, Super Nintendo. I haven't seen how far, like where his line is. It seems to be like consoles, 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000. But I think even that I'm
Dipping
being,
his toe in there.
yeah. Even that I feel like is taking it a step too far. I'd say 80s and 90s.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so He does these video game retrospectives. Some are, maybe like 10 minutes. Some are like 30 minutes. Sometimes he'll do just one game. Sometimes he'll talk about several in one video. Just depends, I guess, on what he has to say. And you know what? It took me back. I mean, I remember these games, but seeing them in action again, hearing the music, seeing it, it's just, you look at it and be like, man, it's like a wave of memories just kind of pop back into my head.
Yeah.
Just
the nostalgia bump.
Yeah, because how I feel about games specifically, I'm going to name a few that he was talking about. How I feel about Cobra Command, Anticipation, Karnov, Kid Nicky.
Yep.
You might not have the same kind of connection that I do.
Right.
There's something about that game or those games that trigger a memory. He did a deep dive on one of my all-time favorite NES games, Faxanadu, and even kind of connected it back to some other games I'd never even heard of. So apparently it's kind of a long-running series, or loosely connected to that series, I think, the way he described it. But I don't know. He was just talking about how all these kind of creative choices led to this thing, and you see it kind of grow. And I don't know. I look back on it and I hear the music. I see the visuals, and I'm like, it triggers childhood memories that I've long forgotten and probably not right in my head, but it's there,
Well, yeah.
A day in time, I remember just playing the game at home, in my room, all that. Things I've forgotten. So I recommend it if you're into kind of short. If you love the stories here, it's kind of the same thing. Maybe not with the same panache I put on it, but it's whatever.
Of course not. No one could.
But it's fine. Should have a new video up today.
Yes.
Maybe. It was that one was challenging in the sense that it was different than some of the others I had done. And some of it required some deep dives, or at least for because way my brain works. I look at something and I was like, well, I've got to find a clip that kind of matches this, and then you go look for it, and it's such an odd, old clip that you're not going to find the super remastered, polished, HD version of it. So finding some clips were kind of difficult, and you're just like, why are the?
You mean you haven't started HD remastering them all now for yourself?
Trust me, if I had the time, because there was this one clip I used in this bit, and I was hoping he would kind of like it, because it was a creative choice on my part. Because the purpose of the clip, and I won't say which one, but I'll kind of set it up so when you watch it, you'll know where to look. And it's toward the beginning. It was commenting or the statements being made before this clip play is just talking about how certain things had happened in his career and choices and things that might have led him, and you can see on screen why this person became a director, and you're just like, okay, how do you put anything to kind of showcase that? And I'm like, I'm blank. But then I remember this clip, and it's a blooper, so that's why I stuck it in. Because I thought, showcasing, this is what showcases his talent to be that, and then you show this real big screw up or something like that. I don't know. It seemed funny to me.
The timing,
right? Yeah. So go check that out if it's out. I'm sure I've shared it by now.
Yes.
The story I wanted to tell you that I'm trying to get through. So, sitting in the living area, and just happened to be on YouTube, and I think I had stopped to look at something on my phone, and it was just kind of a static shot of, watch this next, watch this next, watch this next. And as I said before, I'd been watching things about old video games. Mm-hmm. So what do you think they're going to recommend me? Things about video games or video games in general. Well, on the screen I hadn't noticed, or I had glanced up, you kind of get a quick snapshot of what's on screen. Mm-hmm. And I saw one of the icons was an old game I remember playing a lot, Wizards and Warriors. And I was like, huh. And then I just went back to my phone. Now, my daughter Calliope walks into the room. She walks by the TV and her head just kind of looks. And she just keeps looking at that screenshot. Uh-huh. And then she looks at me and she says, Dad, can we watch that? And I was like, watch what? She's like, pointed at that particular icon. She's like, that one. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went to hit play. Now, as I hit play, she asks, why is Aunt Lace tied up? Oh, no. And I said, what? And she's like, Aunt Lace, she's tied up there. What's going on? And I was like, that is not her. What are you talking about? And she's like,
oh my God.
She's like, oh. And then as the video played, she just kind of seemed like she lost interest. And I was like, I said, so wait a second, where are you going? I said, I thought you wanted to watch this. And she's like, yeah, like she didn't know how to quite articulate what she was thinking. But what it was is that Katrina just kind of looked over and she's like, honey, I think she wanted to watch Super Mega Crash Adventures. And then I looked at her and I said, is that what you wanted? And she was like, and it was like, oh, she nodded for all those who are visually impaired. So then I pulled up the 4 episodes and I said, which one you want? And she picked the last one. Watched it for a little while, then I guess after she saw you were fine, she.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's so cute, though.
Yeah.
Aww. At least I have one fan. I just wanted to watch it because I thought she was there, but if she's gone, then meh, Aw.
And I guess I didn't even clarify the picture in question from Wizards and Warriors is like when you beat a level, you have the maidens tied up, and then they just kind of lower down. And it was a blonde. I guess she hasn't seen your. Well, but if she's referencing you to the video game.
Super Mega Crash is blonde.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
It was just.
It's moved around.
Yeah, it was.
I think last time she saw me it was pink, so now
that's
it's
true.
Purple and blue.
So
it's whatever I feel like.
I think she would be all right with it. She'd be like, oh, look at that.
Yeah,
so yeah,
she's fine. Well, she got some blue I think it was blue put in her hair while we were there.
Yeah.
In Ohio. Blue or something. Anyway. But aw. Yeah. It was cute.
It was an unexpected question. I think that's why it gave me a double take. I was like, what did you, what?
What do you mean? Because for your context, that came just out of nowhere.
Yeah. I was just like, what are you talking about?
It's like, do you know something I don't know? Do I need to call Ace? What's going on? Right.
So yeah, I thought I didn't want to forget that story because I was just like, well, that's cute.
That is cute. No, I'm glad that you shared that one. That's adorable.
So what have you been playing?
Okay, 2 Point Campus came out on Game Pass, and I've been playing a lot of that.
Okay.
I dove in hard. I really enjoyed the 2 Point Hospital, though, so I had a feeling it was probably going to be more of the same, but, university now as opposed to in the hospital. But I was right. It seems like there's a lot more different things to unlock. So they have added a bunch of different kind of courses and stuff that you would take, which would change what you're offering there at the school. For me, I think it's the puzzle of trying to utilize the space with as much stuff as I need to make it streamlined and still turn a profit. Because they want you to keep building out, buying more property, building out. I get too overwhelmed when it starts to get too large, because now there's just too much, unless everything's firing off on its own very well. Like, I'm not going to pay attention to all that, and I'll just nope out after it gets too big. It's like, this is too much for me to look over. But so I'm in this one, you can teach wizard school.
Okay.
You could teach people how to be a knight, K-N-I-G-H-T. You know, I had schools based on that. Those are the fun ones. Like, yeah, there was a cooking school and there's just general knowledge and all this kind of stuff. But meh, right now I'm teaching wizards. I'm about to give up on them, though.
Woo!
Because part of the goal is to get 65% staff happiness. And I cannot get them above 58% for anything. I went through like 3 school years and I'm like, I give up on this map. I don't know what you want. I've given you raises. I put staff resting areas in all of the buildings. So you don't even have to walk that far to just sit down and rest your weary bones. I've made them very prestigious rooms at that. What do you want? I don't know what it wants, so I left them. Moving on to a new school. Now we're teaching cheese ball. So that's what I'm doing. Yes. So it's their sport. It's 3 versus 3.
Yeah.
And one's dressed up like the rats. And then there's the other one dressed up as the other side. And they throw balls of cheese at you, and you have a shredder. And if you hit it, then you block the point, and you shredded the cheese. And if they miss it, it goes in the hole back there and shreds the cheese. And so you wanna hit them every time, so you win the game. So I'm planning sports events around my cheese ball sports, and yeah, it's funny. But once it gets too big, I have to complain. It lags pretty bad. Like, it'll start to lag out. And I have a pretty beast of a PC, so I don't think it's me. So just fair warning, if you like those kinds of games, once they start to get too large, it'll start to lag out on you pretty bad. And I have yet to decide whether this is a troll or an oopsie, because it's the type of game that I think would joke with you, but it is essentially the same game. So there is still someone talking over a loudspeaker, a radio that'll play, campus radio or whatever. One of the paging is, "Doctor, please return to the hospital. Thank you." Now, is that an oopsie from 2 Point Hospital that made its way into 2 Point Campus? Or is it a joke? And I haven't decided if it's a bug or if they did it on purpose. And I don't know that I want to know. Maybe the mystery of it all.
Yeah, whichever one gives you more pleasure.
Guys, like, the first time I heard it, which game am I playing? Was that on purpose? Would they have really just pushed everything over into the new game and just kind of built new things around it? Like, I don't know how these things work, right? I will admit that. Did they build a whole new thing? It doesn't feel like it. But would they have used the same audio assets in testing? I don't know. But the game is silly enough that I could see them doing that just to be funny, or for this confusion. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving it all way too much credit. It was probably overthinking one small bug. That's probably what it was, or an oopsie or something. But I don't know. I've been really enjoying it. There's a lot more to unlock. I've been trying to figure out the puzzle of it all. I've had to restart several times because once I start tanking in money, I just can't seem to get it back up. I'm just siphoning money out left and right. It's usually at some point I'll hire like one too many people and then I can't get it back. I can never get it back. And so rip the whole campus. It's gone. Whatever. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. And then actually playing around, I got my Steam Deck, which we'll talk about. in more detail next week. But playing around with some of my old games that I actually had some like ROMs of, and I've been playing around with that. It's some like Punch Out from like Super Nintendo era. I didn't go all the way back to like Nintendo, but because I didn't have that one. But yeah, so I've been having fun just kind of putzing around with that. That Steam Deck, it's an interesting little tool, man. It's an interesting little tool. I'm enjoying messing around with it. There's just so much stuff you can do with it, and I'm still kind of learning, the Linux system. I don't want to clog mine up with Windows if I don't have to. So yeah, so just been playing around with that 2 Point Campus, and then doing nothing because I took a 4-day weekend so I could, and then just because I could, because I needed away. I needed out away. Anyway, what have you been playing?
Well, I probably played, and I say probably because I can't remember, and I don't feel like I played very much between last week and this week, and I honestly had to dig like my head trying to remember. And I think,
what did I do this week?
Mafia 3 would probably be something. Not Mafia 3, just Mafia period.
I was going to say, you made it through them all really quick.
No, so Mafia would have been...
the first one still.
Maybe getting a few chapters that I don't remember. I think that was what I played briefly because I don't have time to do anything for me. And then I will actually talk about another game later.
Another one later.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That'll be a little bit of a whatever we talk about today. But hey, I do want to tell you about some other things because I know we said we're not doing news. This is just like little itty bitty quickets I saw, little things that I wanted to bring up that are game related.
I'm not like against the news. I just didn't want to do more deep dives and
I mean,
like,
do you have anything?
Why does it sucks? No, I mean, I had a little jotting if we needed like conversation fodder. But,
okay, well, I mean, I'm willing to talk about this one thing because I want to hear your opinion on what you think this will be based on other things we've seen. Did you hear that a certain video game character is getting its own live action movie?
Oh my gosh. I feel like no and yes at the same time, but maybe because I feel like I'm seeing that a lot lately okay, go ahead.
I'm going to kind of give you a few hints before you look it up. I want to see if you can figure it out based on the hints that I give you. This is probably the most recognized video game character not owned by one of the big three.
So, like, not owned by Sony or...
Nintendo or Microsoft. At least not that I know of.
That's getting a live movie adaptation, not owned by the big three. Ooh, I don't know. I really don't know. You're probably going to say it, and then I'm going to feel like an idiot.
You grew up with this character. In fact, most kids who played video games in the 80s probably...
Can't be Mario again, can it?
What? No, we said not owned by the big three.
Oh, well, yeah. Ooh.
It's a very solitary, one-note character with one solid color.
Well,
and
Spot from 7-Up. I'm joking.
I'd say there are... Well, hey, you're on the right track. If you
am I?
If you think about the shape...
In a circle?
Yeah. In a very...
I don't know.
Arcade classic. Arcade classic.
That's a Pac-Man?
There you go.
Really?
Yeah. A live action movie. I don't know. That's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think this is going to be? Because $10.
A live action.
My opinion, this is going to be retreading Sonic the Hedgehog because they don't know what else to do. So Pac-Man's going to wind up in our world, and then someone's got to save him, and there's going to be a buddy picture, yada yada.
It's kind of like a Free Guy where it's inside both worlds or whatever.
Again, they'll rip off more popular movies that have happened here recently, like Sonic.
Sure. Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
What's the story? Does Pac-Man have lore that I'm just unaware of? Because used to be a pizza, maybe. What is Pac-Man gonna save? So maybe it's kind of like a Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Because they have the little ghosts and stuff that were haunting or whatever the maze that you're in, right? That'll eventually chase you. So those are probably going to have to be the antagonists for Mr. Pac-Man or whatever we're going to call the main character. I'm assuming Pac-Man. So Mr. Man.
I'm sure there will be a line in there that goes just like that.
My name's Pac-Man.
Something so lame to where you just roll your eyes so hard going, Jesus.
His name is Chad Pac-Man.
We just call him Pac. So why is his name Chad? Why do we need to know his name is Chad? If you're just going to call him Pac.
I don't know. It just felt like a Chad moment. Like total Chad moment.
Or maybe his name is Patrick Man. Patrick or Pat. I don't know.
No, yeah.
You got to throw that T.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, and then we're hunting the, I know like the blue and the pink. I think there's actual names for them, but
Now, do you think they're going to do any, woke decisions, regarding the ghosts?
How?
Because what about the pink one? It could be the very first live action CG.
Well, I guess I'm thinking CGI, right?
Right.
Kind of like a Sonic.
Sure.
action.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's what it's going to be. But they could like I said, they could do some woke stuff. The pink one, what was his name? Pinky.
I think it was just something. Yeah.
The first pansexual CG character on screen. And
well, I mean, aren't they, I guess, really anyway? Are they even
I'm saying this ironically because something in this movie is going to they're going to do something
that's going to
look at this woke culture because why is it got to be she can't be Miss Pac-Man anymore? The pink ghost has to be a dude. Pink is for girls.
I think they should just all be a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's my activism.
Androgynous.
Nobody isn't anything anymore. Yes, we're all just that thing over there. And there you go. That seems less hateful.
I think it would be smart.
Things. Just call everyone things and then we can call it. Anyway, it's just a ghost.
They're still going to get mad about it. They're still going to be upset going, why is this ghost sound like some idiot? I know I'm going to go off topic for a moment, but hey, it's on topic for us. You said that Sandman, finally watched Sandman. I know you watched Sandman. The reason I'm bringing it up is some idiot on Twitter decided to post, man, I love Sandman and all, but gosh, is it like in your face gay? And I said, that's exactly what I said. I was like, what are you talking about, dude?
I'm trying to even think of any moment.
Well, what I'm assuming he is upset about is the fact that there was anything related to homosexuality in the show, period. So you have characters who are interacting, in a way that it's just
I guess it was
bothers him.
So in my face that I'm forgetting a specific example.
It was
That's how in my face it was.
As far as being in your face, no, it was none of it. I was just like, God damn it. They normalize it, like it should be. They don't sit there and say, hey, look at gay people.
Yeah.
They're just like, this
No,
is
that's
the
just
natural
like how it
progression of the
is.
story.
Yes. Okay. I guess oh, wait, well, I don't want to say too much because I don't know what would be spoilers if it was talking about desire or,
But see, no, I wouldn't even say that because that's just who the character is. I mean, as far as...
But they're gods, for
Yeah.
one. Are we supposed to think they're all going to act normal? They've been around forever. They're kind of just messing with us. I don't know. I took it as how does a god even act?
Who knows?
I mean, okay, well, that stuff aside, I loved it.
I
I
did
thought
too.
it was great. I mean, you said you read the books though too, right?
I read about half. I think I had borrowed...
We're about caught up according to the hubs.
I think I had 4 more books is all that was left of what I was trying to read, and it was just a matter of circumstance that I never got a chance to read all of them. So some of the stuff in there was familiar, but obviously they did have to make some changes because there are certain characters they can't use, certain things they can't do
Really?
because of licensing. Like, if we could have seen Batman, that would have been awesome. Which
Do they share a universe?
They do. Like, he was one of
Sort
the
of,
characters in the books initially, just to kind of show that Dream could be everywhere. And then they had to change. I guess they didn't have to change the character, but I respect them for doing so. Joanna Constantine,
Creative choices.
or Constantine,
Yes.
is John Constantine. But they just said,
The hubs made mention of that when that popped up.
yeah. But he was just, I mean, it worked. Because they said we technically had already created Joanna Constantine. She was going to be a character in his past that he saw, which we did see that. But then they were just like, why don't we just use her and its descendant, whatever, and be done with it. That way we're not having to explain anything. Fair enough. I get it. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it was a solid show. I hope we get to see more. I hope Netflix isn't going to get all jittery. Because they're...
Well, I guess there wasn't a whole lot of books, according to the hubs, that were kind of caught up, or at least caught up to where he had read. So I don't know if there's more. Not like they would need it. I mean, if you were doing enough creative freedom and you think you can continue on in the way that you had already started, then, by all means, because I really did enjoy it. The first couple episodes was a little weird because I just didn't know the lore or anything real yet or why, because man, the first few episodes really is just, it's a lot. They're telling you a lot of story in a small frame of time, which I don't hate. It kept it moving, but my God, the span of time that it just kind of caught you up. And I kind of appreciated that. Like, we have a story we want to tell. We're going to just try to get you as caught up as we can in a small time frame so we can tell you the portion of the story we wanted to tell. And I wasn't lost. I appreciated that. So coming from someone who had no idea about this being a comic or anything beforehand, I followed it along pretty well. I had a couple of questions, but sometimes I feel like we just write in those things so there is a complication to overcome, and it bothers me, but it's fine. Whatever, I guess. We don't know how to get ourselves out of certain situations. But, yeah. So I hope there's more. I can see it being done, though. I feel that story, at least, would have finished in a way that shouldn't make you pissy if there's no more.
Sure.
No,
I remember, or I actually heard Neil Gaiman on Mark Maron's podcast, and they were kind of discussing how it came out and the process it got there, which, it's funny, and it makes all the sense in the world. He was talking about how there were a lot of adaptations of Sandman trying to get made before now. And one of the stipulations that seemed to be that the studio seemed to make is keep the creator as far away from it as possible. And he was just like, that makes no sense, because if you want it done right, don't you feel like you would involve the creator?
Yeah.
And all these attempts to try and make Sandman always failed. And then once they got him involved, here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, interesting.
But he did say that if, to your concern, do we get another season? Don't we get another season? He said he doesn't know, or he could just be saying that. But he said, I'm not sure. He said, but if we did not get a second season, I feel like I got to see a vision of Sandman that I wanted to see, got it on the screen, and I would be perfectly happy if that's where it ended.
Yeah. No, so. I agree. I think it was well done. I think they cast it wonderfully. And hat tip to Patton Oswalt. You know? Like, that was just so wonderfully bizarre and bucking the whole theme that I just loved it. So, yeah. Would I love to see more? 100%. I hope so. But I'm very happy with the story they told and in the way they did it. So, if we don't... I mean, it's Netflix. We weren't going to see it for another year or two anyway. They take their sweet time in between seasons. So, I would have already forgotten about it by the time it would have rolled around anyway. So... That's another issue with their binge model I have. It's like, oh, I get to binge it all, and then in 2 years when the next one comes out, I have to watch the old one again because I completely forgot the story because, well, now everyone's older. Like, those Stranger Kids things, they're going to be full-blown adults by the time they finish the series up.
Technically, aren't they?
They're already aging out of the storyline.
Yeah.
You get those kids so young and take 2 years in between. Dude, they're
sprout.
Aging out quick. You got to get that camera on and done. Mm-hmm. Like, kids grow up fast at that time frame.
Certainly.
And I'm sorry. I know we're getting off topic again. What was our topic? But the whole Stranger Things, I guess, last season, sort of spoilers. But this whole de-aging them thing, not yet.
Yeah.
No, we got to stop that. Until it looks better, because it's too uncanny valley, and it drives me crazy when I see it, and I can't. And they used it so much in that season that like literally it hurts my eyeballs to look at it. It just creeps me out. We're not there yet. Sorry, it looks good.
Hey,
looks better than it did, but we're not there yet. I can still tell.
There was a time we said that about a lot of effects, and then we finally got there. So this is testing.
I'm just saying, not yet.
Yeah, we're getting there. They want to get there, they'll get there.
Yeah, so. I kind of wish they wouldn't, though. But because we're going to make actors, what do we need them for?
Exactly.
I mean, I guess voice acting maybe still until AI actually gets good at emoting, but...
Well, from as weird as this may sound, and it sounds wrong on so many levels, but just as you said, there's going to be a time you don't need the actor. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard that James Earl Jones's voice in the most recent Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus was not his voice, but a computer that had taken his voice, various samples of his voice, and now can
Did they get his permission?
I would assume they did. But this is not the first time I've heard of this. So this computer, it's what Val Kilmer was trying to use to learn to be able to speak again.
Oh, yeah?
Because, he can't speak well anymore. So the computer hears like thousands of clips of him speaking, and then it can replicate his voice.
Oh, I don't like that, though. Well, like for learning or teaching you how to do a thing again, sure. But to take the human out of needing it all together, Jesus, even getting Rowboat out of acting, guys.
I'm just saying. Yeah, it's messed
so
up.
sad.
If there was a reason for it, say he passed. That for the sake
See,
of
that's also weird to me though too, because
but I mean for a voice. Faces, that's when they brought back Peter Cushing, that was weird.
well, they've done that in a lot of things now.
I know.
Maybe if they started a film and you have to wrap it.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about that. Because, like, then you're in this whole gray area of their family that's still around. And I don't know, man. Like, imagine your SAG contract now has to have a writer about not using my likeness after death, or that, so I'm still making films that I didn't approve myself to be in or something, like,
I mean, I'd say as long as the family is okay with it, sure. But yeah, having a contract, something in your contract, just saying, hey, these are my wishes. Fair enough. If you don't care,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
creepy.
know. So weird. But anyway, de-aging and Stranger Things not there yet. That was the point.
That was your
I
point.
didn't care for it. That was my point. Didn't care
And
for
then,
it.
And it was a long rabbit hole down from Pac-Man live action movie that's happening.
Right? To
So,
Stranger Things. See how
it
it
is
works?
it is happening.
See how it works? Yes. Well, I did. The Hubs actually showed me something cool that I did want to share as well before we move on to, I don't know, whatever else we got planned for it. Screwless motherboard. People, if you build yourself, just we've all been there. If you can recall, just thinking back to how many screws are probably in your power unit. How many are just hanging out behind your motherboard because you just couldn't get it again because half of it was already screwed onto there. And, well, now it's rolled underneath and it's become this huge trouble. But, yes, Adris is doing this one. All of it is like button mashes, clicks, and joint hooks. And I'm here for it. And I just wanted everyone to be aware of this, because if you're like me and build your own PCs, this could be amazing. It's the Gigabyte brand. And they come with the latches. So the PCIe, it's a latch. The M.2 for your new XS card, it's a latch. And I've just been reading this going, oh, I hope it all holds as tight and nice and neat as it used to. Because to me, that's just a game changer if you're a builder. And because those little freaking screws are the bane of my existence the whole time. Because you can't use magnetic stuff. You really shouldn't. You don't want to put a magnet over your freaking motherboard. So you try to get that tiny screw in at a corner, and you drop it, and it goes underneath something. I'm sure there's a builder listening right now going, yep,
So you go, yeah.
Unless you're just a god at building and you've never dropped a screw. But I'll drop the same one at least 5 times before I have to get up and walk out of the house, like a fighter. Like, all right, I got to get back in my headspace before I come back over here. If I drop this freaking screw one more time, I'm just going to. But yes, I just wanted to bring that up because the Hub showed the article with me, and just the buttons around the edges of the motherboard to narrow those slots just to make them like a snap, instead of trying to go in at an angle and pray that it's straight and that you'll get it back out later on if you manage to get it, Guys, single button pushes are the way. They're the way.
Pretty clever.
Now, hopefully it's just a really good motherboard. But I just thought it was cool that we're getting to that point now that someone like me, yay, latches and button pushes, not a bunch of screws. This is great. And I mean, it looks like it'll be a decent board too, because it'll support the Ryzen 7000 series. So it's from the Gigabyte motherboard. Gigabyte is the brand name.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know. I know you don't build PCs.
I don't.
I know you've heard of Gigabyte.
Sure.
But yeah,
That's
So
it.
I want someone to build with it and then let me know, because I just built mine, so I have no need to start all over again right now. Nor should I spend the money just to spend just to see if the buttons and the latches work really well. But I mean,
Understandable.
I like this. I like the brand. I mean, I've used them before. So anyway, there you go. Look it up. If you were thinking I'm building a PC, maybe I just made your life easier. I don't know.
Perhaps.
I'll pretend.
See, I might think about building a PC if I had a room in which I could set up and just a gaming room, Like this could be the gaming room, but I'd have to have things set up a certain way, and then I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out.
Yes. I think you could. We would just have to get you blackout curtains.
Yeah.
For that.
I need
for
to
that
do
window
something.
right there.
This whole room is still in disarray. I just need to get it taken care of. But again, when do I have time?
I don't know.
I need
Just
clones.
gonna have to start telling people like, nope, busy, even when you're not, just to force it out.
I need clones. I honestly believe this. I discovered a game the other day. This is not the one I played, but I just happened to... I don't even know where I found this or how it came across my eyes, but I thought I'd bring it up to see if you'd heard about it, because I'm going to keep my eyes on it until it releases, and I didn't get a release date.
Okay.
Squirrel with a gun.
Yes! Oh my god. Okay. Go ahead, but yes, I was seeing it. I wasn't sure if it was a game or a mod or a both.
Yeah, some guy, Dan Dentremont, I hope I said his name correctly.
Yeah,
It just seems like insanity. You are a squirrel
kind of like
with a gun.
literally, and you're mugging people.
Yeah.
And it's just this tiny, it's just a regular sized squirrel with a regular sized gun.
Hmm.
Walking around holding people up. So obviously the gun looks massive because it's a tiny squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Was it
not?
a real game though, or was it a mod? Did I bookmark it though?
I thought it
wanted
was
to
a
talk
real
to you
game.
about that too, so I bookmarked it. Or maybe I just instantly thought it was a mod because that's where my brain goes, being a PC gamer and just used to people putting in whatever they want in their game, which I respect. If you know how to do that, love
It is a real game, right there.
Squirrel with a gun.
On Steam right now. You can even look up clips on
wow.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Funny enough, release date, good question. That's what it says.
We don't know either.
But
Now
yeah,
I've
look
brought
at
it
the
up.
stills
Okay.
of this game. Look how amazing it looks, but insane at the same time.
I love that the squirrel's flying now by shooting the gun down.
Because why
Can't
wouldn't
some
you?
squirrels fly?
Some?
Shouldn't they already be able to? Well, I guess glide
Yeah. No, I want to play this.
for someone.
I want to play this. So I'm hoping this isn't some guy's idea of, being a jerk. Because this just looks
yeah.
insane and fun all at the same time.
Yes. This is why we game right here,
Mm-hmm.
for these kinds of ideas. Ooh, I love it, like a whole bunch of men in black having to chase down the squirrel. Ooh, you could throw a brick through a window, it looks like. You could just be one sort of a jerk of a squirrel.
Yeah.
You really wanted to. Oh, man. Yep. Okay. I remember seeing it on Twitter, someone posting a clip about it. And I thought I bookmarked it. But I guess I didn't, so I'm glad that you remembered to bring it up.
Yeah, no, I saw it and I was like, all right, I'm going to make a little note of this one. This one looks insane.
Yes. Those are the fun ones that I always like to book and look at. Well, I mean, even Jed bringing up that, I know it's not brand new or anything, but the Turnip commits tax evasion. Because then when you go look it up, it doesn't, it's not what I thought, I guess, with a name like that to evoke it.
Sure.
But
Fun.
yeah, why wouldn't I want to do that though?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, since you brought it up, that's what we're talking about today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh fun. Look at that.
She just segued I don't know why my mouth wanted to put more D's in there.
Sugar
Sugar.
That's so in sync after all these years.
She could just feel it.
I just line them up for you, and I have no idea.
So yeah, I looked this game up. There were two, as a matter of fact, that I had been eyeballing, and this one, after hearing about it through Jed, I thought, well, let me look both of them up and see what about this, what about that, and which one could I probably get a little bit more extra time in, and maybe get a decent playthrough before the show. And I went with Turnip Boy. Wow, it was a short game, but I had a lot of fun playing it. So
It looks nuts.
what I did, I mean, I literally played it in one setting. 2 hours tops, if that. I don't remember. It just kind of breezed by so fast. But it was a lot of fun. It definitely has, if you looked at it and you thought, this kind of reminds me of A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past from the Super Nintendo days.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of play
way it
style.
moved.
Right. So you are Turnip Boy. Why are you Turnip Boy? Feel like there's a deeper history that they explain if you pay attention, because the story is nuts. Because you're Turnip, who's a boy, and you've apparently chosen not to pay your taxes. You even start the game that way.
To be fair, if I was a turnip, I wouldn't think I'd be on their books too, but you know.
Well, you never. I mean, I don't know who these people are. They've got their own tax system.
Right.
But they have you have your bill or whatever for your taxes, and then you just rip it up, and then that's it. But I noticed you rip up a lot of stuff in this game. There's never, anytime you see a piece of paper, you can read it, but then as opposed to putting it back, you just rip it up. So I came to the conclusion that Turnip Boy is kind of a dick, because a lot of the things he does is kind of dickish. So him committing tax evasion seems like it'd be right up his alley. You know, why not? Like, for example, within this game, you have certain areas, and I wouldn't call them towns or cities. I would say little areas where more people gather. And it's really not a large-scale game. Like, even on the scale of A Link to the Past, I wouldn't consider everywhere you get to explore massive. I feel you can get from one end to the other in a decent amount of time. And it doesn't, and you're not going to get lost. Everything feels very linear. And if you're not allowed to go somewhere, they're going to block you off or something like that. So it can take a moment at times. Like there was a time or two I got turned around because there were two areas and I was trying to remember where something was. So I would just have to kind of think for a minute, and as soon as I remembered, everything just kind of fell back into place. So I wouldn't say that it will turn you around unless you're just absolutely horrible with directions. I mean, you would have to be so bad. But there are signs.
So that would probably be me.
But there are signs. There are signs you can follow. So you'll get around.
But I don't read those.
Well, for the sake of trying to keep up with everything, there you can kind of look at one area as like your central hub. Like, this is where you start the game. There's, I think, 4 directions you can go. And then you have kind of an understanding, all right, so if I go this way, that's where it's going to take me. Up here's that. And then you just, as long as you have that, you've got your bearings. And as I said, it's really not a large area. You know, it's very contained. So don't think this is going to be a massive Zelda-style adventure in that regard. It's very contained, very small, but like I said, it plays a lot like A Link to the Past. You'll have an area at the beginning where you're trying to go help the I guess going back to the story so you have an understanding, and I'll try not to spoil anything for a game called Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I know we're all hanging on to the seat of our pants to how this is going to come out. But because you've done this thing, the mayor of this town, which I don't think I ever got a name, but he is Mayor Onion because he's an onion.
Okay.
He tells me that, or tells Turnip Boy that he's gonna help him take care of some special favors, yada yada. It seems a little shady, but it's like, well, if you want to get your taxes cleared, you gotta help out. You gotta put in your time. And he's like, all right. So the very first thing you do is you've got to go get, what was it? Some sort of artifact. Something you had to bring to him. I can't remember what it was, but along your way you will find an area which kind of reminds you of the Lost Woods from Zelda, where the sword is hidden, and then you'll of course get your first weapon.
Yeah.
The playthrough,
is it a chef's knife?
No, it's a, what do they call it? The soil sword. So it's like a sword made of dirt. I mean, that's about what it looks like. The weapons and combat, you literally, I would say, fight most with that, but you also have a watering can that you have to use. The watering can, you'll see various plants. Sometimes it'll grow like a big block that you can use to either kind of put in something's way if you need be, or if you'll have a hole in the ground, you can shove that in there and kind of create a path. Or you'll have bombs that you can kick in certain directions, which, again, there's a puzzle element to the game. So if you come to an area where you don't see that you have a way to get through, there's probably a way you can blow this up, blow that up, and then kind of get around to this and this and this. So the puzzle element, not very difficult. At least I don't think so. It might take you a minute if you're looking at something that...
But it makes sense.
Yeah, like there are teleportation puzzles. So you use your watering can. Say there's a plant on one side of a fence. Like you can't get to that side of the fence, but you can water the plant, which is going to open up a teleportation hole. There might be another one nearby. So if you can find where that is, then you can go into that, and then that'll take you to that one. But there's a limited time because after it dries up, then the teleportation goes away, so you have to kind of re-water it and try to hurry up to get to it. Furthermore, by the time you go through that teleportation, there might be 3 rocks in your way. They need a bomb. There's nowhere a bomb is nearby. So you have to go back through the teleportation, find a bomb. You have to kick it through the teleporter in the proper direction. Because if the direction outside of the teleportation is right, then you have to make sure that when you kick the bomb into the teleporter, it's coming in from the left, so then it will exit right.
Okay.
Got it? So it's always going in that direction. It's never going to go in another direction. So it's little clever things like that. I was like, okay. And it took me a minute from time or two till I was like, just having to kind of figure out. I was like, okay, this, got it. It just got to think about it for a second, but it's not mind-numbingly difficult to where you're like, oh my god, I can't figure this out.
Like a rage quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the most difficult thing out of the game for me came in the form of the boss battles. You will have various bosses that are holding on to certain items or things that you're looking for. They're clever fights in the sense of trying to give you options on how to fight. You don't have to fight the enemy this way, but there are ways to possibly expedite it, make it faster. It just might require a little bit more time. So you can go in to every fight. At least I was able to maybe save for like the last fight. And if you want to chase the boss down and just keep whacking at him, take the possible risk of getting hit, whatever. But you can do that. Not a problem. your weapons will work. However long that takes, that's up to you.
It's a tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, some enemies might have certain elements in the area in which you can use to attack as well. There may be bomb plants nearby, so you'd have to kind of time it up to where you could kick one at the enemy as soon as they approach you. There could be an enemy that requires certain, like fire. I think there was one that you could, again, attack, but if you could get a fire or nearby fire to touch that character, then they too would set on fire. It's all about the risk. What are you willing to do? How do you want to play? Which I appreciated. So it wasn't, you have to do this one thing to beat this enemy or you'll never beat the enemy. It was just like, you can still, whack at it, but here's a way that might help you get more energy down.
This might be more efficient.
Yeah. Might be riskier, but hey, it'll work. There's no more riskier than doing that. You're just an extra step or two.
Okay.
So
I like that you're not stuck.
Yeah.
If you move on.
And I died quite a few times, usually on the bosses because there would be a knack to it. There would you'd have to find your footing, especially on the one that I just kind of mentioned about using fire. It took a minute because I had to kind of figure out the patterns that were going on, what I needed to do, what I was doing that caused me to get hit a lot versus, trying to stay clear. And there is kind of a trip button. It looks like your character kind of does a dash and it falls over. And that would kind of be your dash dodge move. And I didn't think about it because I was like, why do they have this button here? And then in the context of a fight, then I started looking at it and how it would get me away from a hit pretty quick. So I was like, all right, so I'll use that as a dash or a dodge. Okay, cool. So change up your combat skills and you kind of find out that things work out a little bit easier that way when you know what you're doing. The other thing about it that, as far as combat goes, and I didn't really like this, I wish there would have been a way to, I don't know, streamline it a little bit more, but maybe there were restrictions because of what. But that doesn't even make sense either, because you're on PC, you're on consoles. Like, how could you not have options for more buttons?
Oh, like remapping?
Yeah, because
what'd you play it on?
I played it on the Nintendo Switch because they did not have it on PlayStation for some reason. In fact, that's like the only console it was not available on. Go figure.
Interesting.
But so you start off with the watering can, and all that is good for is just watering stuff. Fine. But that, I mean, I guess you can look at it as you have to hit the attack button. And again, like you said, button mapping would have been kind of nice because sometimes brain no like where button be and be like, no, that's not right.
Well, the switch to anything else screws your brain up for a minute anyway.
Yeah.
Mapping is different.
So like I said, you get a sword later on. Now, certain items that you will acquire that you need for missions or what have you, you just get them, and as soon as you have them, you can take them to wherever they need to go. And it's just a simple, easy thing. So you don't have to whip it out of your pocket or something like that kind of stupid crap. With your sword or any other tools that you may need, you have to swap them out. So if I'm using the sword, but I need the watering can, I have to go into this menu, swap them out, and then I have it back. It's a delay in the action to the game, and it can throw your rhythm off, especially if you're in a boss fight. And I wish there would have been an easier way to cycle through my weapons. And if there was, maybe I didn't find it. But
you probably hit all the buttons, anything though, just to see if you're like me.
Yeah, and I felt like I would have run across it had that. And again, if it does, and I was too stupid to figure it out, then oops.
Oops.
But
You played it on hard mode.
Yeah.
To you. Yeah.
But the other things that kind of keep it entertaining, for me, whoever wrote the dialogue for this, and of course I think it was published by Devolver, so, or was it?
Oh, well.
Was it? Maybe I'm thinking of the other game that I was eyeballing, because I did get them. Because I feel like it
About
seems
the same
like something that would have been up there.
This,
Graffiti
publisher,
games.
Graffiti games.
Yeah, sorry. Excuse me.
And then Snoozy Kazoo. Is
Snoozy
the
Kazoo. So,
I like that.
and they did a fantastic job here. The, I guess, I mean, there is a story going on, and then it's
There is a story. I like that.
yeah, it's not just, you committed tax evasion and that's it. And it's so bizarre because it's the whole title, if you think about it. Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. You're just like, what? This is what?
Right.
It just,
What?
none of it makes any sense. It's just the most absurd.
None of it goes together in a sentence. Yeah.
Exactly. So obviously the story should be pretty interesting to go along with it. As I mentioned, you are kind of a jerk-ass, or at least I feel like you come off as a jerk-ass. Example being is that you have missions or favors, we could say. Favors that you do for townspeople that be like, hey,
Yeah.
I've lost this thing, you think you can find it? Somewhere along your adventures, you're going to find what they're looking for. You're going to run across it, get it, and then take it back to them. Most of the time, you will get a heart piece. Because, just like Zelda, you have little hearts. And you can collect hearts. So, you can get it a heart piece, and then that'll kind of fill up that bar. So, I always recommend, if before you go to the next dungeon, use that term loosely, you can go find a heart here, find a heart there, because you're doing favors for whomever. Maybe you got a new tool that could help you get the next heart or do the next favor for whomever. So it's one thing to kind of keep in mind, but they will also kind of block you off from certain areas. So if you're not quite ready to go somewhere, they'll be like, no, not right now, not right now. It's like, okay,
You don't go there yet. Yep.
like they do. But the story and see, I went back around to it again. I'm trying to get back to that one thing. Doing favors for people. I was doing a favor for a guy, and he was like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
I kind of have a crush on this, other strawberry down there, something like that. And it's like, oh man, you think you could take this letter or whatever, and then you have to go give her something, flowers, I don't remember. And then he goes down there.
What is strawberries like?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, whipped cream. You give the strawberry whatever he wanted to give her. She gives you a letter, and then you rip up the letter. And then when you talk to them again, she's like, well, that's rude. You go back to the other guy, and he's like, well, what did she say? There was a letter? What did you do with it? And then your character doesn't talk, because what characters do in these, protagonists never talk in their own games. And everything's just kind of like dots or question marks or whatever for Turnip Boy. But he's like, hey, what, how did it go? What did she say? There's a letter? What did you do with it? Silence. And he's like, oh, come on, man. So you kind of get this sense.
Didn't even read it first.
Right. So for whatever reason, Turnip Boy just likes tearing up papers. That's his thing. Because
So maybe it was never tax evasion.
Maybe
It
not.
was just like, this could have been an email.
Mm-hmm. And maybe he's got this issue about tearing up papers and shit. I don't know. I don't know his life.
Yeah, no. Maybe he hates trees.
He could.
Just hates trees and been misunderstood this whole time.
But as the story goes along, it's just absurd nonsense. But the dialogue is worth reading and thumbing through, because some of the stuff they say, some of the stuff they do, just like, oh, man. Okay. And then there's like a vegetable mafia and all this. I mean, it's...
Ooh!
Yeah. So it gets a little crazy. Apparently, I will say that I don't think I beat it properly. Like, I did finish the game.
The real ending.
Well, I was looking up because I was curious. Right at the end, things got a little hectic, and I was like, all right, is there a strategy here? I mean, there really hadn't been a strategy prior to that, but I was just curious regardless. It was just like, is there just something I need to know? Just want to make sure. So I was looking stuff up, and they said at the very end of the game, if you had found all the tax documents and ripped them to shreds, I'm assuming the IRS was not going to come for you.
Okay.
That's what I'm assuming. And then I maybe forego the last boss battle. But, I mean, I had to do the boss battle. I beat the boss, but I don't know where I missed a tax document, though. That's the one thing I was curious about.
Probably, like, right in the beginning.
Yeah.
Somewhere that would have been easy before you knew to be checking for all of them or something.
Could have been.
That's usually where I find those.
You can also collect hats.
Ooh, fancy hats?
They don't do anything to you. You get to wear a hat.
Just looks like a hat.
Turnip wearing a top hat or a baseball cap or cat ears, whatever. I mean, you want to look like these things, that's what you get to do.
That's what you get to do.
And then this is an interesting feature they've added in that I don't feel like I've seen in a game in a while. There are 2 areas which I did not explore, so I will say that this is my fault for not doing so. But after you beat the game, there were 2 areas that were previously blocked, and they even stated, come back after you beat the game, and then of course he'd be like, what does that mean? I don't know.
Right. At the time, yeah.
But you come back, and then I guess one is like a train. I did kind of look at that. There was a cave on the other, and I never went back to it, so I don't know what's in the cave. But the other was a train, and I'm assuming it's a challenge train or something like that. I should look into it more. I don't know.
Get so many tax papers at the end of the timer, chasing them on a train.
I'm gonna audit you.
Paper cuts.
Yeah.
They're like you're julienne and all the vegetables with just paper.
Yeah.
I would play that game too.
I recommend it. I don't know if I would recommend paying a large amount of money for it. I paid maybe like $6 to $7. I think that was a fair price. It's a very short game. You could maybe stretch it out, but I don't know why you would. Because even as I say I beat it, I did, for the most part, take care of, I'll say, 90% of all of the side quest stuff. Because I did talk to everyone. I would check to see if they need anything. I would make notes if I heard somebody say, oh man, I need this thing. Oh man, if I only had this thing. I would just make a mental note and be like, okay, well, if I find that, that's where I need to come back to. And I feel like there was a character or 2 I did not help, but I don't remember seeing their thing. That's on me.
Sure.
I honestly don't know what I overlooked. Even at the end when they said the thing about the tax documents, I was like, what did I miss? Because I went everywhere. I searched everything. I even did something really, I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I thought, hey, what is this game going to do? Kill me? And it does. There was a megaton bomb in a bunker. Like you climb down this bunker and there's just like this big nuclear warhead. And I was just like, I'm going to hit it. And then I hit it and it went kaboom! You died. And I was like, oh.
So you found out.
Yep. I shouldn't have been beaten on the bomb. And hey, that was fair of them to do that in the game.
To be fair, yeah. Slapping a bomb like that, probably not a good idea in real life either.
I shouldn't have been doing it. And they were just being like, hey, this consequences to your actions. That's what we're trying to teach you in this game. You try to commit tax evasion, you're going to get burned. And if you smack on a bomb, you're going to blow up. So you just remember that. These are life lessons.
Yep. The lessons we are taught.
Now, I wish I had a lot.
I
wish I had a lot more I could say about it, but it's a very simple, short game. And if you are a fan of A Link to the Past, I would highly recommend it just for the sake of that nostalgia. There are a few little hiccups here and there. And when I say, there wasn't anything game breaking. Sometimes I could feel like a little lag on my character as I'm walking, like it would just be like this brief little pause, and then it would just kind of move. I don't know if that was just me. I don't know if that was a control issue on my part. I don't know. Other people may not have that same issue, and it could have just been a Nintendo Switch thing. Could run fine on Steam or any of these other consoles or platforms. But I recommend it. If you're just looking for something short and sweet, you play it in an afternoon, no big deal. Just, I wouldn't pay a high dollar amount for it. If you can get it for $6, $7, go for it. But,
so the sale was fair.
It's a fun little romp, Yeah, absolutely. So I thought, because it's speaking to me from a nostalgic standpoint doesn't mean it's going to be great. Mighty Number 9 was doing that with Mega Man, and then people were just like, no, it sucks. Don't go near it. And I was like, oh.
Don't do it.
And I was disappointed because I wanted to play it, and then they said, don't. It's insulting to people like you who are Mega Man fans. Okay, fair enough. I don't want to be insulted.
Right. You could say reminiscent of, but maybe not a direct comparison.
Right.
Ew.
But no, yeah, go check out Turnip Boy. I think people like it. I really think our audience would dig it.
Just dig it, yeah. Just have a little fun for, what would you say, a couple 4 hours?
Not even that. I'd say 2 tops. Oh, yeah? I would really say 2, depending on, and maybe I'm being generous because I won't say like I pushed to try and beat it. It was just, my brain was going, okay, I'm done here. Go. Go. Like I wasn't. Yeah, just moving along. Just wasn't thinking about anything else. I was just like, going here next, Go,
that's fair. And I like games that I know I'll be able to finish.
Yeah. So, it's fine.
Excellent. Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, that's our show.
Yeah, people, y'all gonna have to get used to this.
Yes. Hey, they may be like finally, in a reasonable time frame. I don't know. But yeah, you can go to Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Stephen puts his time and love into. You can also send us an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. Support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app, and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. And you can also get more content over on youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. Ooh, that was hard for me to say for some reason on that last one. Lots of P's. Hey, we suck at Discord, but we're getting a little better. Be cool like Judd and join our Discord. You can help make us better by coming on over. Links are in the description. So thank you so much for listening. I'm Lacey Finley.
I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.